I just don't feel like I'm enough anymore. Everyone turns to me, but who do I turn to? I love HR, but sometimes I wonder if I still belong here. No, these are not just random thoughts. These are the quiet, unspoken feelings of HR professionals everywhere. We are the ones people come to when they are hurting, when they are confused, or on the verge of giving up. But who do we go to when we're the ones who need help? Today's session is not just about mental health policies or employee support programs. It's about us, the people who hold the workplace together, the ones who smile through burnout, advocate for others' accommodations, and yet often feel like we cannot show our own cracks. Welcome, everyone. I'm Helga Lejarza, joining you today from my quiet office in Simpsonville, South Carolina, with my cup of coffee in hand. You know, for 30 years, I have lived and breathed human resources, and my goal is to make it to 50 years. Yes, I'm aiming for that Guinness World Record. I'm the proud founder of HRTrainingClasses.com, and I hold all the major HR certifications. But you know that beyond the titles and beyond those acronyms, what drives me most is the people, is their growth, is the resilience and the stories behind every workplace process. And I am so grateful that you're here to share this journey with me. Before we begin, I want to take just a moment to clarify something important. No, I'm not an employment law attorney, although, I always say that I believe that there is one who lives inside of me. I have always been very passionate about employment laws. And many of you, I see a lot of familiar names here. So you know me, that is the truth. Everything that I share with you and what I will be sharing today, it comes from my 30 years of HR experience, 3 decades, from real situations, from lessons learned, and the best practices that I have seen work in organizations across the country. That said, if you ever need legal advice, I strongly encourage to consult a qualified employment law attorney. So I can give you an advice, a recommendation on how I will handle and how I will address a particular situation. But that's, again, based on my knowledge and experience. And also because of today's topic, I want to be clear. I am not a physician. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist, psychologist. So nothing that we discuss today should replace professional medical guidance. My goal is to create awareness, understanding, and compassion for the mental health realities that HR professionals face every day, not to diagnose or prescribe, obviously. I also want to let you know, I need to make sure, yes, that this training session is being recorded and it's going to be available on our website for future reference. Usually I finish right on time. Sometimes I go 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, behind a schedule. So I decided to make this a little bit shorter so that way we can also have more time for Q&As. How's that? Well, I decided to do this webinar because as HR professionals, we show up every single day to support everyone else, the employees, the managers, the organization. We are the ones people come to for guidance, for comfort, and for solutions, right? But here's what people forget. We're humans too, right? Many of us struggle quietly with things like depression. If you know me, you know that I'm an open book. Yes, I do. I do suffer of depression, a little bit of anxiety. What can I tell you? PTSD? No, I don't. But I want to let you know that anxiety is the number one mental health problem in the US. Anxiety is number one. Depression is number two. PTSD is number three. So very common challenges. And also in HR, yet we feel like we have to hide it, right? We have to hide it. Why? Because as human resources professionals, we're supposed to be the strong ones. We're supposed to be the protectors. We take care of everyone. But I always wonder, who take care of us? And when we finally admit that we are not okay, that we are humans like everyone else, well, suddenly people start to wonder, well, can this person still lead? As this person is suffering of depression, of anxiety, can they still give ethical advice? This is the person that we go for advices, for recommendations. So they start wondering if we are the right person. It's like the moment that we speak up about our own mental health, we risk being seen as less capable, less stable, of course, less promotable. I have seen it. That's not right. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation, to break that silence and to remind everyone that empathy, strength, and vulnerability can coexist. Because being human doesn't make us less effective in HR. It actually makes us more effective. So I decided to talk about this problem because I have seen too many HR professionals, yes, myself included, pushing through exhaustion and emotional pain just to keep others afloat. We show up every day, I'm okay, with a big smile, right? We're calm when everyone else is panicking. And we hold a space for people's fears, frustrations, and grief, even when our own mental health is quietly falling apart. You know, the truth is, HR professionals carry everyone's burdens, but often silently. We take on stories of terminations, workplace conflicts, investigations, harassment, discrimination complaints, retaliation complaints, and we absorb it, all of it. Well, you know, over time, that emotional weight doesn't just disappear. It's going to stay with us, right? Again, depression, anxiety, PTSD are the top three struggles that we see, including in HR today. And yet, we're expected to be strong, always on, always composed, always okay. It's almost as if the more we care, the less we're allowed to show it. But pretending that we are fine doesn't make us stronger. It isolates us. It sends the message that vulnerability is not allowed in human resources, when in reality, we need it the most. Because at the end of the day, we are not machines. I'm not a machine. We are not machines running compliance processes. We're human beings helping other human beings, and we love doing that. And that's why I believe that we also deserve support, compassion, and also a space to heal. Well, just like every employee that we advocate for, we deserve to feel seen, to feel valued, appreciated, welcome, cared for. Well, not just professionally, right? But emotionally too. So before we continue, I would like to get a quick pulse from everyone here. So I'd like to know how many of you have ever felt emotionally drained at work, even when you love your job. How many of you have feel emotionally drained? Oh, I see one thumb, two, three, four. Anybody else? Yes. Look at that. You see, you're not alone. Okay, I feel good. I'm not alone either. I knew that. Yes. I will say probably the majority of us by seeing all those thumbs up. We are not alone. And that's exactly why this conversation matters. Because behind the policies, behind the compliance, the checklist, there are people who are quietly struggling too. We are not alone. And I think a lot of you answer with the thumbs up. But you know what? Even if not everyone answer out loud, that's actually part of the story, isn't it? Because as HR professionals, we are so used to staying composed, even when we're struggling inside. I feel like that many times. I'm the strong one that I have to be there for everybody else, for all my friends, for my family members, for my clients. I have all the responses. I'm the strong one. I'm okay. I can do everything. I'm fine. And many times inside, trust me, I'm not. Sometimes people think, oh, Elga has everything under control. You're right. I wish. I'm a human being just like everybody else. I want to look at the data that is going to tell us about what's really happening in our profession. We need to look at these numbers, because these numbers, they don't lie. They don't lie. We're dealing with a heading crisis in our own profession. Yes, the one that we have all the balls in the air. We don't let any of them drop on the floor, right? We talk about burnout for everyone else, but not for us. And that silence is what is keeping that stigma alive. We need to look at the first number. 73%. 73% of HR professionals report feeling emotionally drained by work. That's huge. That's almost 3 out of 4 of us. Think about that. The majority of HR professionals are running on empty, emotionally exhausted, yet we show up every day with a big smile and help others navigate their struggles. But look at this. 65% say that they have experienced anxiety or depression symptoms in the past year. That's me. I have to combat that every single day. These are the people designing wellness programs, implementing employee assistance programs, and checking in on everyone else's stress levels. But very few are checking in on them. Now, this next one hits home for me personally. 42% feel they cannot disclose mental health struggles at work without fear of judgment, right? So sometimes the people who need the help the most, we don't talk about it. No, I'm not going to mention that I suffer of depression or that I suffer of anxiety. Oh no, they're going to think Elga is crazy. She needs to be on a mental institution. No, we want to hear from everyone else, right? Oh yes, let's talk about mental health in the workplace. Now we want to do that because we want the employees at work there every day. So we want to talk about it so that way we can provide the right support. What about us? Crickets, right? No. Okay. And this is a chart we're talking about, the very department that promotes inclusion, empathy, and belonging. Yet many of us still whisper about therapy appointments, medication. Yes, I took my medication, Lori. Thank you. Yes. So mental health days. No, let's not talk about that because we fear being seen as weak or incapable. And finally, we're hearing terms like compassion fatigue, vicarious trauma, more and more in HR circles. We absorb the pain of others, the layoff, the investigation, the employee crisis, and over time, it leaves emotional scars. But there's no debriefing for HR. No, we're expected to just move on to the next fire, right? Like we're machines. Like there's no feelings here inside. I'm not a robot. When you put all this together, it paints a picture of a profession that's deeply dedicated, but also deeply, deeply depleted. Mhm. In HR, we wear so many masks. Mhm. We're the problem solver, we're the legal interpreter, we are the counselor, we are the voice of reason. But when you carry everyone else's pain long enough, it becomes your own. And when you finally say, I'm not okay, the reaction is often discomfort or even doubt in your capability. That's why so many HR professionals choose silence. My goal today is very simple, to help you remember that it's okay not to be okay. I got it. It's okay. To show you how to spot the early signs of burnout and compassion fatigue, not just in others, but in yourself. And to share realistic ways to build support systems within HR so we can continue doing what we love, but without losing ourselves in the process. You know, one of the hardest things for HR professionals is recognizing burnout in ourselves. We are so trained to spot it in others. Oh, the performance changes, the absenteeism, the emotional distress that we miss it in our own lives. So when you start to feel emotionally detached from situations that used to move you, or you find yourself going through the emotions, that's not a strength. That is not a strength. That's a red flag. HR burnout doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. And we ignore it because we think taking a break means letting people down. Oh no, I cannot take a break. I cannot take care of myself because I need to be there for others. Always putting ourselves there for others before putting ourselves first. Compassion fatigue. It is something we almost never talk about it in HR. Yeah, I want to be helping everybody. Sometimes I forget about myself. It's it's what happened when you care deeply. You care deeply for others for too long without a chance to recharge. We handle employee crisis, investigations, medical leaves, FMLA, ADA accommodations, I-9 compliance, OSHA compliance, FLSA compliance, harassment claims, discrimination claims, retaliation to ensure that this is not happening. Our HR, right? We're the ones making sure that we protect our employees from retaliation. Oh, what about changes? We are the change drivers. You know that. Yes, we are the change drivers. We always need to show that positive attitude toward the changes. Yeah. And every story stay with us. Even when we're looking at those discrimination, harassment, investigation, cases, and all that, all those stories, they're going to stay with us, even when the case is closed. You know what happened? Over time, it drains your emotional battery. People think, oh, HR is so simple. You're just talking to people and you're resolving people's problems. You're not on the floor pushing, pulling, lifting heavy boxes. Oh, what an easy job. Oh no, it drains you, your emotional battery, complete depleted. You may find yourself reacting sharply to small things or feeling indifferent to big ones. That's not who you are. That's compassion fatigue. But you know what? It's reversible, but only if we acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. Healing doesn't happen, from a single day off. Oh, I'm gonna take a day off and I'm gonna be 100%. Oh no, we wish. So it's not gonna happen. That healing is not gonna happen from a single day off, or maybe from a quick self-care tip. Oh, I'm gonna go for a pedicure, I'm gonna go for a manicure, I'm gonna go for a massage, and then recover. No, it comes from systems that protect our emotional well-being, the same way that we protect others. HR needs safe spaces too, spaces to process, spaces to vent, spaces to cry if needed. Mm-hmm. Some of you, my dear friends, sounds like me, right? Sometimes I need that too, because I'm human. To be able to recharge with a fear of being judged. No, I don't have to hide it. Oh, but that's Elga Lejarza with 30 years of HR experience and all those certifications under her belt. Yes, so, and a human being, just like everybody else. Remember, empathy without boundaries leads to exhaustion. Let's model what healthy looks like, because the way we treat ourselves sets the tone for how the organizations are going to treat everyone else. Here's something very real that many of us experience, but rarely say aloud. When an employee discloses a mental health condition, yes, right? We offer support, EAP, reasonable accommodations. Yes, we have to provide reasonable accommodations to qualify individuals with disabilities as per the Americans with Disability Act of 1990. As long as doing so won't cause an undue hardship to the company. Yes, Elga, we know you're an expert with employment laws. Yes, so we offer the support, we offer the reasonable accommodations, but we also offer confidentiality, right? Yes, to our employees. But when we disclose, oh, suddenly it's different. Mm-hmm. Too often HR professionals fear being labeled as she's unstable, too emotional, or not fit for that managerial position or for leadership. And because of that fear, we stay silent. Everybody else can talk about it. HR, I suffer of anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD. And we're there to listen to them and to provide support. But the moment we say one of these things, are you sure that this is the person we want to promote? Yeah, this is why sometimes we don't apply for the promotions. We hide therapy appointments. Oh, I have an appointment. We don't want to say therapy. You mean you are seeing a therapist? And then people start judging, right? Something is wrong with this person if they're seeing a therapist. No, we push through panic attacks, in meetings, all while preaching wellness and self-care. Yeah, for others, for others. You know, the stigma runs deep, even inside HR. And until we start addressing it within our own ranks, how can we expect the rest of the organization to take mental health seriously? How, right? The truth is, vulnerability doesn't make us less capable. It makes us relatable. And when human resources professional, when leaders, when they share their humanity, it gives other permission to do the same. Oh, she can talk about it and it's okay. I guess I don't have to hide it anymore. I guess I can talk about it. We become safer spaces, not just for employees, but for each other, for us. Let's start by normalizing conversations about mental health, especially from leadership. You know, when leaders openly acknowledge stress, burnouts, or even their own coping strategies, it changes everything. It sends that message again that it's okay to not be okay. And that seeking help is not a weakness. No, it's a responsible act of self-care. We also need to redefine professionalism. For too long, professionalism has been confused with perfection. Mm, you know, but true professionalism includes empathy, self-awareness, and yes, vulnerability. Because people, let me tell you, people don't connect with perfect. Mm-mm. They connect with real. So another step is to build peer networks for HR professionals. Safe spaces where we can share experiences without fear of judgment or career risk. It is so important to build that peer network. Here are my peer, my network. I see them, I see their names. They're here for me, to support me. Well, they're here for me, I'm here for them, right? Sometimes just hearing someone say, I've been there too. You know, that can make the difference between burnout and breakthrough. Thank you. We should encourage leaders to model openness and compassion. When a chief human resources officer, when an HR director, when an HR manager says, I've had tough days too, had very difficult days too. You know, it opens the door for honest dialogue at every level. Mhm. And finally, let's promote the message that you can be an excellent HR professional and still need help. You can lead with strength and still have moments of struggle. Yes, the two can coexist beautifully. Absolutely. Can have those moments of struggle and also live with the strength. That's what real leadership looks like. Because at the end of the day, creating a culture where human resources can be real is not about policies. This is about people. It's about leading with heart. Supporting HR mental health is not just the right thing to do. You know, it's a smart business decision. When human resources professionals are emotionally healthy, the entire organization is going to benefit. Decision making becomes clearer, relationships stronger, and compliance risk lower. A calm, supported human resources team can handle complex situations with empathy, with precision, which directly impacts the organization's reputation and also the organization's stability. Leadership must recognize HR's emotional load. Every day, human resources professionals are the first to hear the worst news. Layoff, terminations, harassment, discrimination, retaliation complaints, personal crisis. Every day we're the first one to hear all the worst news, right? Well, that emotional labor accumulates. Leaders need to treat human resources well-being as part of the organizational wellness plan, not an afterthought. Providing confidential access to mental health resources, specifically for HR, is crucial. For the HR staff, is crucial, is needed, it's a must. Too often HR manages the employee assistance programs. Oh, but we feel uncomfortable using it themselves, right? You know how many times I do remember in corporate America promoting, recommending to the employees to use it. And you have no idea how many times I felt like I was the one who needed it. You know how many times I use it? You want to know? 0. What? I promoted it to the employees that I saw that they needed it. Of course I needed it. Of course I needed it. Absolutely. It was a time that I was in a big dark hole, which I don't like to think about that because of my depression. Did I use it? No. We feel uncomfortable using it. It's like it's there for everybody else, but not for us. No. We need spaces where human resources can decompress and be vulnerable without fear of losing credibility. We're human beings like everybody else. Offering periodic debrief or reflection sessions. Even short, structured check-ins allows human resources teams to process those difficult cases instead of carrying that emotional residue forward. These debriefs help prevent burnout and secondary trauma. And finally, evaluate workload balance. One person cannot be the entire HR department. When we overload one person, you know what we're doing, right? When we overload one person, we're setting them up to fail. That's what we're doing. And we're risking compliance errors. We're risking also moral issues. And of course, first we start seeing the high absenteeism. And then what do we see after that? Turnover. There goes your human capital. Sustainable human resources means shared responsibility and realistic expectations. Because at the end of the day, companies that take care of their HR teams, they're going to see lower turnover. They're going to see higher engagement and greater trust across the board. Because when the people who take care of everyone else finally feels cared for, the whole organization is going to thrive, the entire organization. I want to remind every human resources professional listening today, you are not alone and you are not broken. Having depression, anxiety, PTSD, what else? Bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or any other condition. Oh, Trichotillomania. Let's just go ahead and add it to my collection of things. Trichotillomania, or dermatillomania, other conditions. Having these conditions or any other condition doesn't make you unqualified to be a human resources professional. No, absolutely not. You know what it makes you? It makes you human, being able to understand others. You know what I always say? What is it that I say with my cracks? I said, my cracks, meaning my depression, anxiety, trichotillomania, a little bit of OCD. Okay, all these cracks, you know what they show? They actually show how strong I am. Our cracks, they show how strong we are. Because regardless of all these cracks, we don't fall apart. Here we are, right? So you have carried teams. You have mediated conflicts. You have comforted employees. You have stayed composed through chaos. And here you are. We fall, and here we are. We stand up, right? So that's my dear friend, that's a strength. So please, let's stop measuring our worth by how much we can hide. You know, true professionalism is rooted in authenticity and compassion, starting with ourselves. Healing doesn't mean weakness. It means reclaiming your energy, your focus, your joy. And when HR heals, organizations are gonna heal too. Because compassion always starts with the people who give it most. All righty, as we close today, I want you to carry one message with you. The workplace cannot be healthy if the people managing it are suffering in silence. We can change this together. Let's make it okay for human resources professionals to rest, to feel, and to heal. Because we cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So I want to say thank you. Thank you to each of you for being here today, for showing up, not just for others, for showing up for yourself. Let's take care of HR too. Remember, we're humans too. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and start unmuting you. Gonna allow you to talk. That's gonna give me an opportunity to see some familiar names and to see some new names. Let's see. Hi, Jennifer Campbell and Jessica Poe. Feel like I haven't heard from you in a long time. And Lori, that's probably my Lori. It says Lori's iPhone. And Nadine, I know two Nadines. And look at that, Son. Look at that. Okay, so I unmuted everybody. Something happened with one person I couldn't unmute. Okay, excellent. So I want to hear from you. Maybe what part of today's conversation hit home the most for you? You know, have you ever found yourself maybe hesitating to be honest about your own mental health because of how it may be perceived? Oh, we're not supposed to talk about it. I was planning to apply for this promotional opportunity. What do you think if I mention that I suffer of depression? You know, this is your space. This is safe. This is open. This is judgment free. So let's take a few minutes to share insights and questions, because the more we talk about it, the more we're going to be able to break the stigma. So I'd like to hear from you, but I'm also going to look at the chat. Thank you, Elga, for bringing these struggles to light. It's a long overdue conversation. Absolutely, Lori. Thank you. Okay, I have a hand that is raised there. I'd like to hear. All I see is AG, Jen, HR.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the title of our company, Agrigenesis HR. This is Mackenzie Weber.
Mackenzie, yes.
Hi. Really great training today. A lot of it hit home, especially the compassion burnout. I can 100% recognize a lot of those signs in myself. Getting snippy with things that I absolutely should not get snippy about. But it does make me feel good to see that I've kind of utilized one of the tools that you brought up. What did they call it? What did you word it as? Taking time before responding. That's something that I've put into place, because if depending on what they're sending me, depending on what they're telling me, I can get real rattled up real quick. So I've kind of made it a point to put some time in between when I get an email, when I get a text, whatnot, and my response, just so I can let my brain settle and I can communicate in a proper fashion.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mackenzie. Absolutely. We need to recognize we're human beings too, so yeah, we can also, stress. No, they think it's a chart. They're not supposed to show that they are stressed, that they are depressed. No, we have to be the strong ones. They are the protectors for everybody else. They don't realize we're also humans. And you know what it feels when we are like in a group like this with HR professionals, then you feel like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. But you have no idea how much I am gonna recommend building your support network. This is so important. Being somebody who has been suffering of depression since my early 20s, now almost 40 years. Oh no, did I just mention my age? Oh well. So I used to isolate myself. I didn't want anybody to see, what I was going through. I do have a support network. Thank you so much to those people who are there for me when, just like any other human being, sometimes I may be very, very hyper and very excited and very happy, but sometimes I also have my days. But I have learned to admit that it's okay, like I said, not to be. It's okay not to be okay. But that network is important. Yeah, I still don't want to go publicly and tell everybody, this is who I am. But I'm very open. I'm very open because I feel that by being open and saying it's okay not to be okay, it's okay to suffer of depression, it's okay to suffer of, trichotillomania or anxiety, you are demonstrating that yes, I'm a human being and it's okay. You can talk about it. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, because Elga suffers of depression, she needs to go and be on a mental institution. So we feel like that we can talk about it. And it is so important because we can also help others. Remember, we take care of everyone else in the organization. Who takes care of us? Who takes care of HR? We're here. We're here to take care of each other. Absolutely. Thank you, Mackenzie, for mentioning that. Thank you so much. I'd like to hear from other people. I'd like to hear maybe what part of today's conversation, again, hit home the most for you. This is your space, remember. This is safe, this is open, this is judgment free. We are not alone. It's okay to have these conversations among ourselves. Any other comments?
Elga.
Hi, John. I recognize that voice.
I think for me, I think what's really hard to show is the vulnerability level that you do when you do admit that you're not like what the expectation is at times, such as the perfection and so forth. It's very hard to admit that at that level, because then you start otherwise getting questioning of what you do know and what you don't know, even though you are the HR professional.
And that is correct. And the problem here, John, is that we haven't normalized this. Okay. I wish I could tell you right now, yeah, go ahead and be open in your organizations and tell everybody exactly, what's going through with you. Tell everybody about your depression and anxiety. That's not what I'm saying. Remember that I said here, right here, this is a safe, open, judgment-free space. This is what we need our HR network, because we haven't normalized this in our organizations for HR. I'm telling you, I personally know, and I know of a lot of my HR friends and colleagues and peers, when they mention depression, anxiety, there goes the promotion. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. But we want employees to talk about it so we can provide support. That is not the same. It's not the same when we show that vulnerability at work. And this is what I want you to understand. I want to be honest. I don't want to tell everybody, oh, it's okay, we can talk about it in our organizations and it's going to be accepted. It's going to be welcome. And I know that depends on your organization's culture, but I'm telling you by experience and from many HR friends that I have, we haven't normalized this conversation for HR in our organizations. We haven't normalized it. So between ourselves, absolutely. And this is why I keep saying we need this network. We need this network. We need to have our HR support network. Oh, talking about HR support network, something really good about HR support network is coming, right? Some of you already know about HR.community, but you'll be hearing more about it. All righty, look, and I thought I was not even gonna make it to 40 minutes. So before we sign off, I want to leave you with this thought. Because for so many of us in human resources, our entire identity is built around helping others, right? Being the calm in the storm, being the voice of reason, being the fixer. You're gonna be like, okay, that sounds like Elga. Yeah, sometimes I feel like that sounds like me with all my friends, right? This is that my mother always tells me, you are not Mother Teresa Elga. But I wanna do that. I wanna help everybody. But you know what? The truth is, a real strength is not in how much we carry. It's in knowing when to set something down. That moment when we say, oh, I need a break. I'm not okay today. That's not weakness. And those of you who are my very close friends, that I will share that with you. I'm not okay. I need a break. I need to disconnect. And you tell me, Elga, relax. And I'm like, okay. But the only way that I can relax is to continue working, keeping myself busy. When I keep myself busy, then I don't have time to get depressed. Okay. So that moment when we say that, I'm not okay today. No, that's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's self-awareness. You know what? It's also courage. Because when we allow ourselves to heal and to rest and to be human, we actually show others that it is safe for them to do the same. It's okay. And that's one of the most powerful forms of leadership that there is. Human resources has always been seen as the department that fixes the problems. But who fixes? Human resources. We protect, right? we guide, we hold people together in the hardest moment. We always bring that crazy glue and we hold people together. And sometimes in doing that, we forget to hold ourselves. So the truth is, strength and struggle can exist in the same person. Yes, you can be brilliant and brave and still be exhausted. You can love your job and still feel like you are drowning some days. It's okay. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. So please, please, my friends, promise yourself this. Don't wait until you break to ask for help. Protect your peace the way that you protect everyone else's, because human resources is not just the heart of the organization, it's the heartbeat. We're not just the heart of the organization, we are the heartbeat that keeps it alive. And you know what? That deserves courage too. Absolutely. Today's session, yes, it qualifies for 1 HRCI and SHRM recertification credits. See, I'm getting better at this. I used to forget these credits. I also want to mention that if we're not connected yet on LinkedIn, well, let's change that right away. You know, I share free HR tools, uplifting content, and resources that you can actually use. Also encouragement on the hard days. You don't have to do this work alone. And I'm going to say, if today's webinar resonated with you, if you feel seen, if you feel supported and encouraged, I will be grateful if you take a quick moment, if you haven't done already, and leave us a Google review. You can just scan the QR code on your screen. If you have already given me reviews, you don't have to do and give me another one, because it's just going to revise the previous one. Okay. So why do I always ask for reviews? You know, your reviews helps others find this space and help us keep building meaningful content for HR professionals who care deeply, but also need care too. All I have to say is thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this, what is it, almost 1 hour with us. Please, please, my friends, please remember you matter. Rest is productive. Boundaries are a gift. And your humanity, please remember, it's not a weakness. Your humanity is your superpower. Until next time, please be kind to yourself, leave others when you can. And never forget the power that you hold when you show up as your full, authentic self. Well, until then, see you next month, November. Thank you so much, everyone. And have a spectacular rest of the day. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.